Skitty? Skitty? Where did you go?
Meow.
Can you believe it has been 8 years since Pickpocket Monsters Solar and Luna were released? Neither can I. This time in 2016, I had a literal countdown app pinned to my desktop just waiting for the day to arrive. Sure enough, when the release date dawned, my parcel was delayed and I had to borrow money from my mother to purchase a second, immediate copy from a local store. Ah, good times. Thank you, Mum. Generation 7 really did bring us a lot of changes to the classic Pokemon formula TM. It experimented with the Gym Challenge quest, reinforced the continuation of battle gimmicks with Z moves, introduced new Pokemon partway through the generation, and brought to the table an entirely refreshed take on introducing new Pokemon, these being regional variants. I am a wholehearted lover of regional variants. Essentially, they are a new form of an older Pokemon which has adapted to the current region, either by natural or human influence. When Yungoos were introduced to Alola, they actively hunted Rattata, forcing the little rats to retreat into the night. Thus, over time, Rattata would adapt to a fully nocturnal lifestyle, acquiring the dark type, whereas Raichu ate too many fluffy pancakes and is now a psychic. There are a lot of fun ways you can approach regional variants. They have since appeared in every subsequent new region, and have sort of become a new series staple. Now you've seen the video title. Today we are making Kanto forms. The Alola forms are all variants of Kanto native Pokemon, so for these Kanto forms, I'm going to do the same sort of thing, except I'll be using Pokemon from Hoenn. It only makes sense considering Hoenn and Kanto have this intrinsically tied connection to Generation 3. Did I use intrinsically correctly? I'll search it up later. Whenever I think of the better Kanto games, I always think of Fire Red and Leaf Green. We do have Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but they're just so different from the other core series games that I feel like for your true classic Kanto experience, it's Fire Red and Leaf Green. So let's imagine if these games introduced Kanto forms. What if in 2004 Game Freak implemented the brand new Hoenn Pokemon in the way of regional variants? Well, that's for me to create and for you to watch my video. In the Alola region, we have this diva, Alolan Meowth. I think a nice parallel to that would be to turn this adorable little kitty cat into a spawn of Giratina. These Skitty live in more industrialized areas of Kanto rather than their Hoenn counterparts, which live in fields of daisies and grass and green trees. Because of this shift in environment, they tend to be more standoffish and are fiercely protective over any scrap that they can get. Alolan Meowth and Persian were bred through royalty and thus are inherently spoiled. It's literally in their DNA. But Skitty has to work hard to survive. It has a scrappy personality and tends to hiss a lot to scare people and Pokemon away. I imagine in-game its heckles would shoot up right before it attacks. I think that'd be a fun little animation. This Pokemon also has a unique move called Hiss, which works very similarly to Growl, except it lowers the opponent's attack and evasiveness stats. Because, you know, if it were to hiss at something, it would get like caught off guard, wouldn't be able to dodge an oncoming attack. I think I'm cooking. Also, instead of learning Sing, this Skitty learns Perish Song. Maybe a little OP, so I'm open to Perish Song being a late level move that it learns, but I'm world building, not game building. Its evolution, Delcatty, is a little different to the Delcatty you know and love. This Pokemon definitely exudes the same pompous energy as the Alolan Meowth line, except it appears to be slightly more friendly. This Delcatty still has a bit of Skitty's personality. It's standoffish to a degree and still wants to protect what it has earned, or stolen, I guess. Although it's not nearly as aggressive about it. More of a silent assassin, if that makes sense. I wanted to show this facade off through the color of its fur. It appears more friendly and almost like a fairy type, but surprise, it's still a dark type. Oh wait, should I say that? Pretend you didn't hear me say the typing. That's for the end of the video. Sure, it's more tolerant and docile to an extent, but I would not approach it. Next up, we have Cacnea and Cacturn. These two are definitely a bit more simple in their design differences. They take more of a Galarian Slowpoke route where most of the change is in its color and body markings. Because Kanto doesn't really have a desert where a grass-type cactus would flourish, these two have had to adapt to the most arid place they could find, a crumbly, dusty volcano. Cacnea doesn't really see much of a transformation from this new environment, but once it evolves into Cacturn, it develops the fire typing. Because there isn't much vegetation in the volcanic area, they have lost their grass typing in lieu of the ground type. They're all dried up. You need some form of hydration to maintain a grass typing, after all. This also means that they've fully lost the ability to use grass type absorption moves, as well as Ingrain. Instead, they are more offensive, using moves like Mud Shot and Flamethrower, like against Tackle. I thought it would be kind of fun to have these little barbs on Cacturn's body flare up in a way with its new fire type. I would imagine that they shoot fire kind of like that one box in Crash 4, as if its arms and legs were aligned with little mini flamethrowers. Last, but certainly not least, we have the Storm Warner itself, Absol. This is a very special Pokemon. I drew it for the first time ever late last year when I submitted for the Pokemon TCG art competition. I didn't make top 300 sadly, but I had a lot of fun creating it. I actually noticed like a month after I submitted it, there's an error in the artwork. How could I have let this happen? Damn it. Anyways, all of that experience drawing Absol back then has instilled the confidence within me to tackle an Absol regional variant. Now, Absol's purpose in the Pokemon world is not exactly tied to Hoenn. Its lore is more universal than that. It is known as the disaster Pokemon, as it warns people of natural disasters to come. It's often bad luck if you see an Absol because it means that catastrophe will follow. It's not even like a superstition. Absol is programmed to bring you bad news. I do find it really interesting actually that in Hoenn's Route 120, it starts off as like a fine normal weather route, but you do have a small chance to encounter an Absol in the first lot of grass. So like if you encounter that Absol, then it's almost like it's warning you of the rain that is about to incur because the latter half of the route is always raining. So I don't know, a small detail that I think is really cool. Now Kanto is very culturally tied to spirituality and the afterlife. They have a whole town dedicated to Pokemon that have passed. I figured it would only make sense that Absol would then take on the role of a Grim Reaper / warning of the inevitable end. A lot of dark types and former dark types in this video, I've noticed. For this design, I made Absol read a little more spectral and I gave it more flowy fur. I also reversed the colors, except I made its face a little more toned rather than just flat out white because I felt it looked a bit better. Its head thing is now a scythe to further reinforce the Grim Reaper inspiration, and I made it more crescent shaped as a little connection to the moon, as I would imagine this Absol would be doing a lot of lurking around in the night or just brooding environments in general. The polish work this time around was honestly kinda clumsy, I will admit. I messed around with my lineup brush settings because I initially intended to create art that was similar in style to the Gen 3 and Gen 4 art style. I eventually backtracked and tried a few different takes on the shading and highlighting. I like to always kind of experiment with the official style with each piece I do because even the official art isn't necessarily consistent to one specific art style. Like the base rules are there and followed, but you can tell that there are a few different artists that have a hand in creating the key art. So I guess this was just my own take on it. I do think I'm improving, however, but next time I think I'll just stick to what I know works because I think it produces a nicer result. I'm still happy with my designs though. Speaking of, let's take a little peek at the final result. First up, we have Kantonian Skitty, a dark type Pokemon, which of course evolves into Kantonian Delcatty, also a dark type. Normally, Skitty evolves into Delcatty when exposed to the Moonstone. Kantonian Skitty, however, will evolve after it uses the move Thief 20 times in battle. It doesn't need to steal 20 things, but it just needs to use the move. Skitty can be found on the routes surrounding Saffron City and Fuchsia City. Next is Kantonian Cacnea, a pure ground type, and its evolved form, Kantonian Cacturn, a ground/fire type. Just like their Hoenn counterparts, Kantonian Cacnea will evolve starting at level 32. Cacnea can be found in the grass on Route 21, the Pokemon Mansion, and Victory Road. Finally, we have Kantonian Absol, our friendly, sort of Grim Reaper spirit. Unlike regular Absol, this variant cannot Mega Evolve. It is found in the Pokemon Tower and also has a random 1% chance to appear in any patch of grass on routes surrounding Lavender Town. This thing is on the move. Let me know what you think of these forms and if you'd like to see more. I'm considering doing a video for every region, but they would of course be staggered between other uploads because 9 weeks in a row of regional variants might just be a little too much. Thank you as always for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every Fakemon Friday or Saturday if you live on Mirage Island, just like me. I found a random shiny Slackoth, by the way. I've been playing Pokemon Emerald casually and it just appeared. I was running through the Petalburg Woods. I had somewhere to be and there it is. I don't know if I should evolve it. I probably will.